There's been a spate of opinion articles claiming SARS-CoV-2 was released, presumably accidentally, by the Wuhan Institute of Virology. And this may just be clickbait stuff. I want to show, however, that there are three aspects to it that are really important. First, it ignores biological evolution, and this is a standard way to mislead people and needs to stop. Evolution works. Second, these articles attack the very researchers whose work saved millions of lives, and there's something odious about that. Third, the people making these claims have actually been doing something similar for the last decade or more. They tried to block the research that was later used to develop the RNA vaccines we've all taken. And instead of apologizing, they've refashioned themselves as lab leak theorists. Although this may seem like a political issue, these are people who had the most influence in the Obama administration. The op-ed article in the New York Times has bold statements that distort facts and mislead readers. And apparently this is an innocuous statement that coronavirus spillovers into humans are rare. It denies how these viruses evolve. The author refers to a study that found 0.6% of, I think, 1,500 rural people in China tested positive for coronavirus. They said this shows it was rare. Remember, you stop testing positive after resolving the infection. And 17% reported symptoms of SARS or flu in the previous year. Extrapolated to all the people in rural Southeast Asia, that would be 7 million infections a year. And this study estimated conservatively that 60,000 people a year were infected. What this means is that between the first SARS epidemic in 2003 and the second one in 2019, evolving SARS viruses infected millions of people. And that's what it took before the virus evolved to transmit like SARS-CoV-2. Meanwhile, researchers from the Wuhan Institute and others were busy finding a few dozen new SARS viruses. Scientists won't say there's zero possibility of something, but it is massively more likely that a coronavirus evolved in nature, the capacity to be super transmissive and infected animals and people, then Wuhan Institute scientists sampled it in their dozens of virus in a cave, brought it back, and accidentally released it. There's more in the New York Times op-ed that is misleading, like stating animals left no trace of infection along their long paths to Wuhan. This is nuts. The animals weren't sauntering down the yellow brick road. They were trapped and transported in vehicles. The op-ed article, though, and others like it are more insidious, really. They try to rewrite history, a history that involves Harvard epidemiologists, the institute where the op-ed author works. Every year, Ralph Barrick's lab at UNC has produced voluminous research about coronaviruses. Barrick's lab at the University of North Carolina may be the leading coronavirus research institute in the world. They study how these viruses infect and what can be done about it. In 2015, Barrick's group took a SARS-like virus spike protein found in bats, attached it to a mouse virus they had developed. They had mice adapted with human airway cells and infected the mice with this chimeric virus. The researchers tested whether standard vaccines built like the vaccines for measles, mumps, or polio, which are called inactivated or doubly inactivated, DIV for short, would work. They found these standard vaccines did not work against the SARS-type viruses. Standard vaccine technology didn't work. They also found in related research that a DNA vaccine, which when put in cells coated the virus spike, did work. This research was published in 2015. When SARS-CoV-2 hit, the US government, Pfizer, Moderna, Janssen, all developed RNA or DNA vaccines, largely untested vaccine platforms. Why? Because of the research in Barrick's lab and similar places. This research saved millions of lives. But there's a twist. The group of Harvard epidemiologists and some others objected loudly to Barrick's work back in 2014 and 15. They said it produced nothing of any benefit and was risky. A leading proponent, Mark Lipsitch, wrote that novel vaccines were less worthwhile than stockpiles of flu vaccine. These folks were completely disproved, proven wrong when SARS-CoV-2 hit. Did they apologize? No way. Instead, they are champions of the lab leak theory. They're the people saying the virus was collected, amplified in a lab, then accidentally released. And that's why I am upset. As I explained, it's massively more likely that the virus evolved in nature, infecting people, and eventually a spillover was SARS-CoV-2. Then it was fortuitously collected in a lab, in a cave, by researchers and accidentally released. Research by, like Barrick's, especially related to agriculture, will be a dominant force in the 21st century. Letting fools rush in to create research barriers, not to mention international conflicts, is a serious price to pay for being ill-informed, and that's why I made this presentation. Thank you.